Welcome to episode 31 of the New Indian Woman podcast, airing in early December 2020, and I am your host Krishna. In the last episode, we looked at the challenges faced by young Indian women at workplace and what helped them overcome some of these challenges. This is the second part, where we meet women of an older profile, women with older children, and working in different sectors. Are the challenges the same or do they change? Does it become more or less? Is it common across various sectors? What techniques have worked for them? Let us explore together. Before we start, a quick word. You may wonder, why listen to the challenges faced by other women? Don't I have enough already? Don't I know what works for me or not? Yes, you may already know, but there is scope to learn from others. I strongly believe there is always scope to learn from others so long as we are open to learning. And believe me, there is power in sharing. Wish we had a forum where we could all sit across and have discussions around these issues. Many times when we face a challenge, we feel it is daunting because we have to handle it alone. When we hear others talk about the same challenges, somewhere there is a sense of power in the ability to face the challenge. Our approach of how to handle the challenge may vary, or we may adapt some of the techniques to our context, but we only gain from sharing, listening, and being open. I asked them the same questions as in part 1. What do you think are the additional challenges faced especially by women at workplace as compared to men? Today, let us first hear views from someone who is working as a finance professional, leading a team in her late 30s, and she is also a mother of a 12-year-old and 7-year-old boys.
See, when it comes to capability, I don't see any challenges. We have this priority, right? The work-life balance, I feel, affects the women more. So for us, it will be like keeping in mind all these priorities, we still go to the workplace. The one challenge which I felt is sometimes when we are pushed beyond limits, we have to take a call on our priorities. There is no specific pattern for things to happen, right? Something which will just come out of the ad hoc, which may require you to work long hours at office. It is quite flexible where you may have to go back home, but still for us in such a situation when especially you don't have other help or other support at home, working that extra hours from home or office during some specific times when such challenges come, that is where I think for some women it may be a problem. But
whereas for a man, it is easier to accommodate.
Yes, exactly. So for me, a couple of times I've had to highlight this challenge that I may not be able to do it, or it may not be practical for me.
Many times women struggle to say no. So are you saying you were in a position to say no to some of these requirements which came up?
Yeah, it was not exactly putting it straightforward like a no, but more like I would say raising some concerns rather than saying no. But still, like there were also a couple of times when they have told me like, go back, try to manage, and still if you're able to give a shot. So I have actually gone, because for me also basically as a person I find it very difficult to say no to someone. So these are few things, like when it is really difficult to say no, but you also want to put in your whatever you know about that, or put in your heart and soul to give some result there. So these are some of the challenges where you are actually in a fix. And then sometimes we end up going beyond also and doing it for the company also. That those situations have also arisen.
Do you feel there is something else which makes you feel you are at a disadvantage?
I generally don't take up projects knowingly. There have been times in my career where I feel if I would have actually closed my eyes, I might have gone up more. It was a decision which I took with my heart that no, I don't want to do that, because I didn't want my work life balance to be affected because my kids are really small. So I had to go and tell them that no, that is a personal decision also of mine, where I've decided that till my kids are at somewhere where they can do things independently, I will not I wouldn't say I will not. I would rather stay away from few things,
Okay.
which has affected my career growth also. But I don't have any regrets with respect to
Hmm.
that.
Okay, so that was actually part of my next question, also in terms of whether there are scenarios where you have taken a lesser role which demands less from you.
No, it's not a lesser role. If I were to give you an example, it was actually where one of the managers decided to
Hmm.
relocate, and they wanted me to take up that role from the team leader, because they felt because I have the capability, and they felt I can manage the team
Hmm.
better. So they had actually tried to put it out in every way. From a professional point of view, it was a benefit, because in terms of designation, in terms of remuneration, everywhere it was
Hmm.
fine. But I still stayed back from that, because that involved a lot of travel, now and then, to Australia, which was not feasible for me with two kids, small children at home.
The roles which demand much more from you, either in terms of travel or in terms of maybe exciting from a
Yeah,
career
correct.
standpoint. But what you're saying is, yes, a
Yes.
conscious choice has been taken because you have those additional responsibilities, whereas maybe a man in the same space may be saying yes to those.
Obviously, because for a man, it doesn't matter, right? Because if somebody should be there at home. I mean, everything matters, right? Family, I would definitely say family is the first priority for
Hmm.
me. So, be it their studies, their upbringing, everything, I would definitely feel like, though it's right, we can say that yes, father and mother has to play equal
Hmm.
role, but sometimes I feel it works better if the mother is there, or someone like a
Hmm.
mother, maybe a grandma, someone is
Hmm.
there at
Hmm.
home. Since in my case, nobody was there here to support us, so I took that conscious decision, maybe not
Okay.
now.
Yes, someone like a mother is required at home, and invariably the mother limits her career options. Sometimes I wonder if the stories we tell ourselves need a relook. What if we all accept that at least one parent's attention is required to ensure well being of the children? And both parents in demanding careers makes it less feasible. So, can either parent examine their career choices from this need to nurture the children? Would it even be possible to consider parents taking turns in doing so? Are we even open to think about these options? Agree it's a personal choice completely. But are we conditioned to think in an expected way that the mother has to be the default choice to be there for the children and hence to make compromises in her career throughout her work life? Now, we move on to an assistant professor at an engineering college. In her early 40s and also mother of a college going girl.
First thing, what I personally feel is, especially in Indian scenario, it's a man-dominated world generally. They think that women will not be able to give best as men could do, and whenever it comes to the job, maybe some people, not I'm not talking about everybody, but at least
Hmm.
people who are more senior to me, people may think that like this person, what she may do because she's a lady, that notion will be there among
Okay.
men generally. So they judge
Okay.
us based upon the gender. So that may be a challenge really for women to. My first thing is what we should do is we should try to prove ourselves first, then people will start believing.
Hmm.
Otherwise, for men it is not an issue. For men they don't need to prove. They think everybody thinks that men are more efficient. They'll always do a best job.
So, at your workplace, in terms of number of women to men, what would be the approximate percentage distribution? Approximate.
Especially my stream is mechanical, so it is almost men except for
Man's world. You are the maybe one of amongst the few women in the man's world, right?
hardly we are 3 or 4 among
So,
men.
any specific challenges you face currently, or in the sense recently, and how you overcame that? Do you want to give some a little more specific examples?
With respect to workplace, now people are already aware that I am equally efficient, so they don't have any issues in allotting any work or such.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think right now recently I faced any such issues, but I can say that for a working woman, it is always challenging to balance the time.
In the work environment itself, so maybe recently, because now you have proved yourself, you may not be facing any challenges. Maybe in your work experience over the last 5 years, 10 years, any specific challenges that you want to highlight?
Almost 18 years back, initially, like when I was very young and started with the career, then there was no need of MTech or so. I was just a BTech graduate and I had entered the profession.
Okay.
Then people would see me just because I was the only lady in that department then, first lady to enter into that engineering college, wherein they would just look at me, what this lady would do.
Okay.
And like the expressions what I could get from them is, will she be able to manage
And
the class?
even the class, the number of students, the number of male students will be much more.
It is almost men, except for hardly 3 to 4 girls generally we get in a class.
Okay.
We'll be dealing with all men across.
Huh.
And it's really, really challenging to be in a mechanic.
So it was very visible in terms of their interactions, or maybe not stated, but you could sense that.
Yeah, I could feel.
And how did you overcome that?
First thing what I decided is I'll see that these people will know what I am. So they asked me, like they challenged me whether you will be able to take up this subject, or some subject was there where nobody was ready to pick up. And he challenged me whether you can pick up this course. I said,
Okay.
yes, I'll do it. It was a combination of almost 3 subjects wherein I had to,
Okay.
that was my very first job, wherein I had to address around 88 students in my first class.
Oh, okay.
And then why my voice also was not this big, because now it is almost 18 years I'm teaching. So my voice is quite big enough. Then it was very, very feeble and very low voice. And just now I had finished my engineering and entered into profession. It was a real challenge for me. And I accepted the challenge. I said, I'll take this subject because it's a combination of 3 subjects put into one course. Nobody was ready to take that course.
So the biggest learning, if I may ask you, is that while others may look down upon to you, you decided to let me accept the challenges. You didn't want to feel scared or something. You wanted to approach it with confidence, with an open mind.
True. That was the first thing what I wanted to show them, that I am not less confident than any men across. So
Okay.
I just took up that challenge. But for that, I had to work a lot because that was combination of 3 subjects and I was new to the profession. I didn't know actually how students will react to that, all 88 students in that batch. Then I went into the class first day and I'm seeing from this beginning of my not even 1 meter, from there till the end of the whole big room, I'm seeing 88 students sitting in in chowdhury or so. I was thinking, just a flash in my mind, I was thinking, will I be able to address these students? Then I thought, no, why should I be not confident? Let me be confident. And I just went and told in the class, see, my voice is feeble. If you want to listen to me, you have to maintain pin drop silence. This is the first thing I told them after entering the class. So first thing and foremost thing, what is required in a class for a teacher is the confidence. And if the teacher is confident, students will automatically follow them. This is first thing what I did, because everybody was looking at me. Mechanical department, female faculty. This was the notion. What I could see. So I told you I need to maintain pin drop silence. Everybody said, just everybody nodded their head and they were staring at me. What is this? She's a lady and she's talking like a terror. Maintained that whole thing for the semester, but not even a single day I faced a problem. So what is required for a female is, whether you know it or not, just be confident enough and have self-confidence and just keep moving ahead.
Wonderful. And not only confidence, in that specific example that you shared, you were also aware of maybe a slight weakness in terms of the voice, reach and throw, which you cannot change overnight. Yes. So being aware of it and seeking help. You were sharing that with your students and taking their help, right? That's also to be admired,
to be taken. Otherwise, we have to take them into confidence first.
Correct. Let us hear from Anita, who works in a multinational company as a senior manager. She is 40 and is also the mother of a college-going young man. The first question goes something like this. What do you think are the additional challenges women face at workplace as compared to men?
Hi, Krishna. First of all, lovely to be part of this podcast. This is something very new for me, and I've been doing this for the first time. Let me say that
No
first.
problem. You just think that both of us are sitting together somewhere and chatting.
So, Krishna, if I really have to talk about the challenges of the current days, let me not really talk about the pandemic and all of those things to start with. But then, in general, women and her challenges in the workplace, right? If I really have to put the current age where I am and the challenges what I am facing, I wouldn't really go to the early stages kind of a stuff because those challenges are quite different. And now we have kind of evolved over a period of time, right? And you know how things work. And, there are very different challenges. For example, you are sitting in a boardroom and you're in a meeting rooms and things like that, right? There are few times where you might have to take frequent breaks. Now, there could be various reasons why a woman want to take those breaks, right? But there are few leaders, men colleagues should understand and cooperate during these things. Because I must tell you this, and I do not know why women shy away from talking these things, right? So at this age, generally, Krishna, we undergo a lot of genetic hormonal imbalances and lot of genetic problems, right? So, it might be as well as that, you might wanted to have, access to the restroom as frequent during few days. So you never know, right? Such kind of a stuff is something that, our men colleagues should try and understand and cooperate rather than, giving that weird looks at times.
Right. I agree with what you're saying. Sometimes they give looks and you feel as if we were in college again. Right.
Exactly. And neither I should be shying away from what I'm experiencing, nor the men colleagues, because we all are end of the day human being. We know as a woman what we go through, and those challenges should be accepted. It's nature.
That's true.
Right?
But at the same time, a man who is a chain smoker, who leaves to smoke, that is considered very normal. But a woman going out with a purse because she has to change her pad is not considered okay.
Absolutely. Right.
I'm very happy you brought it up because otherwise people talk about promotions, inequality, something else. But this is something which affects you on a day-to-day basis. Nobody is saying anything, but it affects you. Yeah.
Yeah, we should speak about it. And, there are times, Krishna, where I have been vocal about it. If somebody says, we are in the midst of a discussion, and why are you taking so frequent breaks? And you should try and explain them that, you should not ask a woman when she's taking frequent breaks. And that kinds of gives a very strong signaling to the men colleagues also. It could be an unconscious bias by them.
Right.
So they might not know at times, right? So it is okay for you to go ahead and give that messaging. It is perfect.
I think the learning from this particular challenge that you faced or you explained for the listeners is that there may be occasions like that which are very specific to women. And you don't have to keep quiet and accept it, and we can put it across very politely. The same is the case for a woman who is fully pregnant and who is who can face a child's movements inside, and she wants to and people give her looks, or a new mother who is breastfeeding and she realizes that the milk is leaking and she has to attend to that immediately.
Absolutely.
So the need may change depending on her stage in life.
Exactly.
And we need not pretend that we are anything less because these things happen.
Yeah, you should understand that, what this woman is going through. If she is nursing a child, you should understand what are the challenges that the woman is could be going through. But if a man do not understand, probably, might have to as well accept telling that, there is a genuine reason, and therefore that frequent breaks or frequent, step outs from meetings.
And another kind of an example is most often I have seen women, while they are at office, they may have made some arrangements for the child to reach home from school, from tuition, from some class, etc. So typically, I do not see the fathers calling up home to check if the child has reached, but the mothers do. Okay, maybe most often. I'm not saying exceptions don't exist. So even in a meeting, a woman sometimes has to step out or message to find out, has a child reached safely, or has a child had some food. And these things do not take more than a minute, and it does not need to be looked down upon. Yeah, so the challenges may vary for each woman. The message here is if you are getting dirty looks, it's time to speak up. Convey in a very polite manner. Good. I am happy we discussed this. Okay, we'll move on. Any other specific challenges that you want to share?
I think you brought up a wonderful examples of, she being nurturer, she is being a home taker at the same time while she's working, right? So she do have a lot of other additional roles while she's doing whatever she's doing at office. But then those additional roles might have to overlap during those meetings, during those working hours. So I think we should get that leeway. We should have that space for her, so that she can quickly, and it would really not take more than 5 to 10 minutes, Krishna. And women can literally come back, and she is all the more happy and focused back into the meetings or discussion, whatever she was doing. Excellent. There.
Well, we saw challenges of varied nature today. We started off with challenges around not taking up more meaty roles in the career for better work-life balance, to be the main nurturer, especially with younger children. We moved on to discuss how, in a seemingly straightforward role in an engineering college, a woman faces challenges of being in the male-dominated area and having to prove herself. We discussed learnings on the need to talk about challenges and personal choices first, and then moved on to the importance of being aware of where we need help and to be confident so that we can prove our capabilities. And when we looked at a more senior profile of today's woman in a corporate setup, in a so-called professional multinational organization, we came down to the most basic challenges we face as women, about stepping out of meeting rooms to cater to our bodily needs and how this is perceived. Here again, the learning is about speaking up. If our men colleagues do not know, it cannot be an excuse. It is up to us also to make sure we tell them. We are not any less because of the way our body functions or because we do the additional role of a nurturer at home. Again, like in part 1, we spoke to people in our cities, that too educated women working in so-called very professional environments. A very minute percentage of the women in India. A very minute percentage of the women who are employed. Still, the challenges, the sheer variety of them, the basic nature of them convey a very different picture. A picture we normally choose to accept silently. Isn't it time we start thinking about these and make small movements about these? Only then changes will happen. One minute change at a time, be it at home or at workplace. Hope you found this episode interesting, and more importantly, hope this episode raised some questions in you. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to share the challenges you have faced or how you handle your challenges in our Facebook group or on Twitter. Or share your feedback by writing to me at krishna@thenewindianwoman.com. In future episodes, we will talk about what techniques they employ to manage work and home, what they want to share with their men colleagues, and more. Stay tuned. And how do you do that? If you haven't subscribed to the podcast already, please do subscribe through the podcast app or the subscribe link you see wherever you're listening to this episode. Thank you once again. Remember, you are what you want to be, and the time starts now.